We'd like to kick off the discussion with this panel on advocacy and self-advocacy. One of the most important skills that you could have as a woman, or anybody actually in any industry. It's always great to know how to advocate for yourself. We'll be chatting about how to practice advocacy in your daily work and how to overcome challenges in this practice. Dalia Spasova, who manages community programs at Elastic, there she is. She will be moderating the discussion. Dalia has a bevy of experience in fostering communities around the world around issues similar to the ones we've been speaking about today. Take it away, Dalia.
Awesome. Thank you, Emily. And hi, everyone. Hope you're enjoying the event so far. And since we're towards the end of it, we thought it would be a great idea to wrap it up in a more casual, fun, maybe a bit more practical way. And hopefully now we can all have a very nice discussion around one super interesting and popular topic nowadays. My name is Dalia, and I work on the community team in Elastic. I am born in Bulgaria, but I've been living in Amsterdam for the past 7.5 years. I'm actually moving to London next month. So yeah, as you can see, I love traveling. I love experiencing new things. I used to swim professionally before. So yeah, that's kind of a little bit about myself. And before we are joined by the rest of the panel here, I wanted to give a little bit introduction about Elastic. If some of you are maybe not familiar with it, which I hope all of you know what Elastic is. Elastic is a distributed company with elasticians all around the globe, and it was founded in 2012. And I hope everyone knows that Elastic is a search company, which is built freely and openly. We offer 3 solutions for enterprise search, observability, and security. And that's kind of like a really short introduction. But one thing that I really want to mention is one of the things I really like about Elastic and about working there is that we always encourage teamwork, supporting one another, or simply just sharing resources among ourselves, which directly brings me into the topic that we're here to discuss today, self-advocacy or advocacy in general. And what is self-advocacy? I actually did plenty of research before today, and all of the research that I found has some things in common, which are so self-advocacy is basically learning how to speak up for yourself, making your own decisions about your own life, learning how to get information, finding out who will support you, or knowing the rights, knowing your rights and responsibilities. And so basically, in a nutshell, how to support yourself in the best way possible. And why is self-advocacy important nowadays? It's important so that you have the knowledge needed to succeed, and you're given the chance to participate in decisions that are made about your life. And then advocating for others, that's also a very interesting topic. That practically means supporting and helping others so they can succeed, giving the resources they need. So today we're here and we're joined by a few awesome people. So I would like to kindly ask them to introduce themselves before we begin. If they can all say their names and where they're from, a little bit introduction about themselves, please. Awesome. Hi, ladies. Hello.
Hello.
Hi, everyone.
So who would like to kick it in to introduce himself?
I'll go first. If that's okay. Hello, everyone. My name is Anna. I work with Dalia on the community team at Elastic. I've been there for about 4 years. I'm usually based in London, UK, but currently working from my family's home in Germany, where I'm from. In my free time, I'm a Python Software Foundation Board of Directors member, and I also run PyLadies London. And a fun fact about me, I actually have a degree in English and Catholic theology. I think sometimes people get a little bit shocked when I say that, but I think it shows that everyone has a different journey, and even if you have a non-traditional background, you can still end up in technology one point or another.
Yeah, indeed. Thank you, Anna. Stacey?
Yeah, hi, I'm Stacey Cashmore. I am Tech Explorer DevOps for Omniplan in Amsterdam, which is a title I adore because it says so much and yet at the same time, absolutely nothing about what I do, which gives me a lot of free range in how I handle my days. I've been coding since the mid-1990s. I love helping other people improve on what they're doing and learning new things. And I think a fun fact about me is I am truly and totally addicted to Lego, and there is not enough sets in the world to buy.
Wow, that's pretty interesting. Didn't expect that. Nice. Thank you. And Suzanne?
That is a real dedication to Lego then.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm Susanna Daniels. I live in the Netherlands. I work at Microsoft as a developer product marketing manager, which basically comes down to doing stuff with developers, trying to, organize events and hackathons and that sort of things. Originally I started out a long time ago as developer. So yeah, there you have it. A fun fact about me. Well, the thing is, people always wanted to let me ski somehow, and the most safest thing one can do if you have fears is do it inside. And so after a long talking session, people put me on the lift going upstairs, and it was a belt, like a rubber belt, and I stand on that with my skis, and I go up like a few meters, and then suddenly it starts slipping and I go backwards and just fall back. So I have a bit of an issue with skiing.
Okay, that was very unusual.
Yeah, it's a fun fact. Yeah.
Oh my God, thank you for sharing though. It is funny. Are you skiing? You didn't ski afterwards, no?
No, it is like really, really like terrible that people trying to help you get over your fear. Well, and you get this experience out of their well-meant intentions, of course. But.
Well, thank you. Thanks for sharing with us. Well, let's go into the questions then. I will have like a few questions that I want to ask myself, but then let's open it also to the rest of the public, whoever wants to ask or participate in the discussion. So the first question I wanted to ask, whoever wants to answer it, is if we talk about self-advocacy, maybe someone can tell me how exactly do you practice it at work, and maybe you can give some examples which you think all of us can find useful and kind of help us.
I think self-advocacy is hard for me. I think we all are kind of bad about like talking about each other and promoting ourselves. At least I'm bad at it. I don't like talking about myself. I'd much rather talk about other people. And so a tip that my old manager gave me is maybe team up with another member on your team, another woman in tech, another person from an underrepresented background, and kind of try to promote each other, like push each other up. Like, for example, we have a Slack in Elastic, and I just took a screenshot of this, and I gave a shout out to Dahlia. So that's something for organizing this panel. So I think that's something that doesn't feel as awkward as talking about yourself, but it makes a huge difference. And you kind of help yourself, but you also help someone else out at the same time.
Oh, thank you, Anna. That's very sweet of you. Thank you. Do you girls want to share as well, or?
Yeah, I totally recognize it's very weird, at least to me, to be promoting what I deem like, well, I did my job, and I wish somebody looked at this. And eventually, I just started sending it out because I think it's sometimes difficult to like get contact with somebody. At least for me, that is. So I just put it in like a newsletter thingy. Look, this is what I did. And I started to send it out, and very uncomfortably sending it out to the people I think I really appreciate their feedback, and I think it might be valuable for me. So I started doing that. In the beginning, it felt really weird, but suddenly, the responses came in, and now it really, it helps me a lot to get the feedback or questions. So that's how I started to share what I actually do.
Okay, great. Stacey, do you want to share with us?
Yeah, I think for me, it's like Anna said, it's something that I struggle with so much. And for me, it started inside my head. Before I could actually start to do self-advocacy to other people, I had to accept it myself that I was worth doing that for, and that I had things that was worth advocating for. And I think that is a really hard thing to do. But it's kind of needed before you can really get into it. I think the whole confidence fake it before you make it kind of thing. I fall down here. I can't do this without having it first. So the first step for me is really getting it into my head and looking at what I've done and accept that it's good.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. I think also like before we show ourselves like to others, like publicly, we need to accept like and to admit that we deserve, to the support, the praise, or whatever it is. But I totally agree with you. Yeah, we actually have two questions from the audience. Let's go ahead and answer them. I'm currently on my tech journey. I sometimes feel that I'm not progressing quick enough, and I found that I'm comparing myself to others. What tips can you give us to stay motivated? Do you also think that in case of who you know what, not what you know, to get your first job in tech? Thank you, ladies.
I will give this one a go.
Go.
I think to get to the end of it first, I'm afraid sometimes, who you know has a bigger impact than what you know, and that sucks. That's really a horrible thing to admit. And if I look back into my career, I was really lucky in the 90s. I did what's called a sandwich university course in the UK. And that's meant that my third year was actually spent in industry. My university found me a job. And they managed to find one that was a real job. It's on the sandwich courses, you've got a very good chance of either getting just a fake job that's nothing, or you actually do something. And I was lucky enough to fall into the second camp. So by the time I left, I had experience that I could use. But if I hadn't have had that experience in the 90s, I don't know how I would have started. So it's that bit is really hard to do. I think these days, if you are learning and you want to try and stop comparing yourself to other people, which is so hard, make yourself a checklist of what you want to learn and really physically on paper, put it in an application, make sure there's a checkbox next to it so that when you've reached that point, you can go, tick, I've done that. Get that dopamine hit and allow yourself to experience it and then move on. And in a world where we have Twitter, all the other social media places that we get to, the meetups, which are now all online, speak about it. It's let people know, shout on Twitter what you're doing. Feels horrible. I still don't like doing it, but it's useful to do. Let the world know that you're doing this and show the world. And yeah, it's the things you're doing, put it out there. It's it can help. It can help. It doesn't solve the problem, but it can help.
No, you're right. I think this when the checklist totally helps you stay motivated, right? You reach one task and then the next one, and then you write a new one. So, yeah. Anyone else? Any ideas? Suzanne?
Yeah, I'd like to reply to the whole, comparing to others. This is pitfall I'm so familiar with, and what I think what really helps me is just to look at what I accomplished and try to find my own superpowers and not compare what another does on a certain topic or having certain knowledge around something, but gaining my own and finding my own superpowers there. So, you can have a totally different perspective on the things that somebody else knows or does. And it helps. It always helps me to celebrate what I did. And I think what Stacey said, put it on Twitter. Well, I already am happy that I share some stuff internally to my colleagues. But maybe that's a good thing to celebrate it and celebrate it with others and not only with yourself. So I'm gonna think about that as well.
Yeah, agreed. And it's only in our nature to compare ourselves to others. Everyone does it. It's inevitable. But also we need to realize that like there will always be someone who does stuff better than us. It's just the way it is. But also at the same time, each one of us has something that these people don't. So, we should try to focus on those things. And for me, that's what helps me stay motivated. I know I'm not like the best in like many things, but I also have my strong suits like in other areas. So, that's what helps me to stay motivated. It's very hard sometimes, but it works for me. We also have another very interesting question. Which systems or tools do you use to regularly keep track of your accomplishments? Anna, maybe you can share with the rest how you keep your Trello board, because I found it really nice. And for example, I can't motivate myself to always write those things, but it just works for you. So I think it's super cool.
Thank you. I was hoping you would give that one to me. Yeah, you can tell that we work together, so we know a little bit about each other. So I do two things. I'm a really big fan of Trello. Trello is a project management tool similar to Asana. And what I started a few years ago is I created a positivity Trello board. And still to this day, I take screenshots of nice things people say about me or anything that makes me smile. I create a Trello card and I put that in my Trello positivity board. And then whenever I have a rainy day or I have one of those days where I feel like I'm not doing enough, I'm not reaching my goals, I look at that and it gives me a reminder that's not the case. And something I started doing about a year ago is there is a thing called a 1 line a day journal. It goes for 5 years. And so every day before bed, I force myself to write down one thing that was good that day, because I believe that even during pandemics and during really bad days, things where you maybe didn't accomplish so much, there's still something you can think of that went well. And then I write down just 1 line. And I'm in my 2nd year now, so I get to look back and see what did I write on January 22nd of last year. And I think it's really nice. And also to the point of the last question, I think I try to only compare myself to a past Anna. So I think it's a nice way to see where was I last year and where am I now.
Nice, great, thank you. I wish I had the motivation to do something like that. And Stacey, Suzanne, do you do anything to track kind of your accomplishments throughout time?
I use a bullet journal type thing. So I use Nirvana, which is based on the Getting Things Done book. And if I have a personal project that I want to do, then I will put it in there and list the steps I've got to take for all of the talks that I write. That's all put in there. And yeah, it's just tick, 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 and allow yourself to look back and go, wow, it's like, I did actually accomplish something. I did it.
Yeah, that ticking part is great. And Suzanne, what about you?
I use Azure DevOps. I have a board there with an immense backlog, which is my pitfall mostly. But I keep track of all the things I would like to do and track that. So everything is linked. Those are epics. I just try to work through it. And a lot of day-to-day stuff gets in there, so I try to filter that. I'm not good at that, but at least when I want to know, am I on track? Have I done like the things I really wanted to do that bring me value? I look there, and yeah, it's not something I check weekly, my progress, but at least yeah, every few weeks. Or when I feel down, I just go there and look, okay, I get this.
Okay. Well, it's nice that everyone is kind of having some tool that you guys use. It's really cool. I'm going to get one as well. And I think I'm going to do the Trello board. It looks very pretty. Or maybe I'm going to try what Stacey's. Let's see. We'll see. We got another really interesting question from the audience. Have you ever received negative pushback when you're advocating for yourself? And how did you handle that situation?
yes, immensely, a lot
Yeah.
of pushback. And there's no silver bullet
But
on how
in what way?
to cope with that.
In what
So
way, though? Yeah.
sometimes it is a time to reflect upon yourself. Why is this feedback coming? What kind of feedback is this? Is there and from there decide what you need to do. And oftentimes it is just a matter of, for instance, you have a great idea, a great concept. You try to advocate for your idea, for your thing you want to achieve, and then you get the pushback, and it can be many things. Sometimes it's good to just then, if you can't find anything, just let it go for a little while. Think again, think it through. What is this feedback? How can I use this for the positivity? Because the risk is that when you get pushback, you take it personal, and oftentimes it is not. So stop, pause, look at the comments, rethink your plan, and reintroduce it. Maybe even change the name of your initiative or anything. But try to use the comments and be back better.
Okay, that makes sense. Because the next question was, if you receive something, would you change anything in your approach to self-advocacy in the future? So then you would just not take things personally and try to look at it from more like outside perspective, right? Yeah, that makes sense. Stacey or Anna, do you want to share anything here?
Yeah, I can say a little bit about something. I think that Suzanne has a great point in terms of constructive feedback, but I think there's also, Stacey mentioned putting things out on Twitter, and there are a lot of haters on Twitter, and I used to take it very personally in the beginning, and now I'm at a point where I just like tick and block that person. And I recently read a book by Brené Brown, and she talks about being that warrior in the arena, or I don't remember her exact wording, but she recommends that you literally have like a little note of the 5 people in your life that you really care about and whose feedback you care about. And you keep that somewhere where you have access to it. And then when someone criticizes you, you go through that list and you check, is one of those people on that list? And if they're not, then maybe don't take it personally. Maybe that feedback is not that important, but pay attention to whether someone is just being a hater or do they actually have a valid point. And I think if someone just criticizes you for the sake of criticizing you, then I think it's totally valid to just not react or block that person, because I think that your own mental well-being is always more important than these other people.
Makes sense. Agree. Stacey?
Yeah, I think it's from both Susanna and Anna's points that the one that springs out from Susanna's experience is something that happened to me, and it's actually the basis of my first talk that I did a couple of years ago. And that was trying to introduce a way that we could do trunk-based development at the company I was working at. And the tester in our team, to say he didn't agree with it is an understatement. And we actually had huge rows about it. We both got really upset with each other. And I think what Suzanne said really hit home there, because after about 2-3 months, sorry to that team, that cannot have been fun for them. We actually started to talk to each other and think about the feedback that was being given. And once we actually did that, we actually started to work together, and we produced something really fantastic really quickly from that point. But at the point where you're just bashing against each other, all that happens is you spend energy and you get flustered, and nothing happens except for the fact you don't enjoy your days. And I think from the other one that Anna was talking about, the, shall we say, less polite feedback, I have to think to this morning. I was doing a talk at 12 o'clock today, and it was a technical talk. Now, I didn't look at the chat because I don't believe in looking at the chat. But somebody I know was, and apparently I got some really nasty comments in there because I said you can't do something, and apparently the comment in the chat was, it's just inconvenient. It's not that you can't, it's just inconvenient. That's different. And also apparently I had a typo in my code. It all compiled, but apparently I spelled weather wrong, and that was a big thing in the comments. And yeah, it's taken years, but it's just like, you know what? I was up there giving a talk. If these people want to give up and give their own talk, they can go do it. And that comment just, I don't care. It's that comment's immaterial. It's unwarranted, and I can see it's unwarranted. And you know what? On one hand, it's just kind of funny that somebody wasted the energy to type it.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh my God. Yeah. You know, there's a lot of people who are either miserable for some reason or angry, and they just don't know how to project that or like how to get rid of it. So they're maybe jealous when someone, you know, like you is, you know, speaking up about yourself. You're presenting something, you know, you're in the spotlight. So maybe they get jealous, and maybe sometimes that's the way for them to get it out of their system, which is totally wrong. But you should never let you put you down, because it will happen. Of course, it's the world we live in. But you know, if others could give talks, they will be in your place. But you're standing up. You know, you're giving the talk, so you should be proud of yourself. And people who talk like that, then ignore them. Really, like, come on, we live in a come on. Everyone is better than that. We should all like respect each other and not talk like that. Let me see. There was another question that I wrote earlier myself. In my mind, self-advocating for others sometimes can also be related to mentorship. So I would like to know, like, do you believe that that's important? And have you mentored some of your peers before?
As I said, I have a non-traditional tech background, and when I started out, I volunteered for a long time. I had a lot of people who helped me, who sat down with me, explained coding to me, or gave me advice for my talks. And I like to give back because I think it's our duty. Like, duty is a strong word, but I strongly believe in giving back to other people. And so something that I offer is speaker mentorship to other women, or sometimes I do career mentorship, but I think it's really rewarding. Maybe you've experienced that yourself, that when you do something for others, it's always more rewarding than doing something for yourself. Kind of like buying a gift for myself is maybe nice, but if I buy a gift for a friend, it always makes me feel better and makes my friend feel better. So yeah, I think I encourage you to mentor people. Sometimes people say, oh, I'm not there yet, I'm not senior enough, I'm not advanced enough. But by mentoring people, you actually also learn a lot. Like you learn to explain things, you see things from a different perspective. And so I just find it really, really rewarding.
Yeah, agree. Thank you. Stacey, Suzanne, do you want to share something as well about this?
Yeah, I think the anecdote about the present, that's totally it. It's when I've tried to help somebody promote themselves and do something, there was a developer that worked in my team probably a decade or so ago. And he came in and he was full of ideals and he wanted to rewrite the world. And he really annoyed a lot of people. And he had such enthusiasm, and helping him figure out how to direct that was fantastic to see. And you know, it's kind of explained the whole, yeah, everything that you're saying, completely agree with every word of it, but unfortunately we're also in the real world and we can't drop everything for 5 years to do all of that. So pick the bits that you can do, and helping him find the bits that are going to help him. And what I really love now, I'm still in contact with him, I've not worked with him for years, but watching his career go through, watching the things he's done and what he's achieved, and it's like, it's just an honor to know him, and it's so awesome to know that you've helped build the foundation for that to come on. It's an absolutely magical feeling.
Yeah, it's really satisfying to watch something like that. Cool, thank you. So I think we have time for one more question. I noted down a quote: if you want to walk fast, walk alone. If you want to walk far, walk together. I'm sure we have all experienced feeling lonely in a team. Sometimes tech can be a bit of a boys club. Can you share any tips and resources for networking with other women in tech and overcoming those feelings of not belonging?
I'm going to be honest here and say this is where I fall flat on my face. It's I have anxiety issues sowieso. Wonderful Dutch word in an English thing here. But the thought of going out and doing that myself terrifies me to my very core. And I really do appreciate why people find it hard, because it's totally there for me too. So I'm sorry, I kind of jumped in with a little bit of a non-answer, but I'm really hoping that either Anna or Suzanne has something fantastic that I can also learn from here.
Yeah, what helps me, this is maybe even the hardest topic. Because yes, sometimes, speaking for myself, I do feel alone. But what helps me a lot is to find the people I care about. And luckily I work at a huge company, and there's several groups or virtual teams where I do feel we have a great chemistry, and we have a good representation, and where we are all like those nerds. I can be socially off a little bit. That's okay. So it is good, and it, if it's at work, that's okay. But if it's in private or at a meetup group, that's fine as well. But what helps me is to find a safe space, be it people in your organization, be it a meetup like I don't know, maybe Rails Girls or C# or Pie Ladies Amsterdam, or maybe some other kind of a group where you can you have the safe space, and you can get the energy. That's what helps me.
I totally agree with you, Stacey and Suzanne. It's really hard. I'm also someone that I'm kind of like a social introvert, I would call myself, but I have a lot of social anxiety as well. And I believe in what I call the buddy system, I would say. So maybe make friends with one woman at work or one woman in tech that you know, and ask her to introduce you to other groups. That's how I got into Pie Ladies London eventually. When I first moved to London, I hit up all the diversity groups, and women in tech, and all of them are really big. And in the end, you end up sitting there by yourself amongst 100 women. But if you know someone and they can introduce you to others, it's a little bit easier. Also, same for work. Maybe you are invited to go to a conference or speak to a conference. Bring a fellow woman from work along and introduce her to that community. And also at Elastic, I really like that we have specific channels. We have one for diversity, inclusion, and belonging, for example. So that's something that we hold very dearly at Elastic, and it surely helps.
It's exactly what the NS says. It's finding, if your employer has those groups, join them. And I think the buddy system is brilliant. You will find your tribe eventually. Don't think that you are the only one experiencing it.
Definitely.
Don't. Yeah. There's a lot of people out there who might look confident, might look very happy with the situation, but maybe they are not. It's especially us in tech, we do feel alone. That's completely normal. If you are in a place where a lot of people, be it internally or externally, don't look like you or don't understand you, or find your tribe.
Yep. And if there are no groups like that where you work, start one. Be the first one, and then maybe others will follow after you, and they're just looking for someone to start it. You never know. But it's so great that we're here today sharing those things. And I encourage everyone that's listening to this to, if you want to talk, find us on LinkedIn. We can somehow provide our contact information if you want to talk to us and discuss this further. We'll be more than happy to, make connection, stay connected for the future, and help each other, because we are unfortunately a minority where we work. So yeah, let's stay together and help each other for the future. And with that, I believe we're done.
Well, thank you so much. That was super, super helpful. I love all the ideas, and I think it's something that we all could work on. Like I said, I have 10 years of experience, and at the beginning, it was super difficult, especially when you were a good student. You're used to having that reward come to you immediately, and learning how to navigate a world in which that's not given to you. It's super hard. So thank you all.
Thanks, Emily. Thanks, everyone. Have a good evening. Bye-bye.
Thanks, everyone.